Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something many of us fear: loneliness. It's a word that often carries a negative connotation. We think of it as something to avoid, something that signifies emptiness or lack of connection. But I'm here to tell you that loneliness is not something to fear. In fact, loneliness can be one of the most powerful and transformative experiences of your life. It's a gift in disguise. Loneliness is a path to self-discovery. When the noise of the world fades away, you have the chance to hear your own voice. In those quiet moments, you can truly understand who you are, what you stand for, and what you want to become. Loneliness strips away the mask we wear for others and challenges us to stand face to face with our truest self. And in that moment, you'll be surprised at how much power and potential you find within you. Now, many people think that loneliness is a sign of weakness or failure, but let me tell you, solitude builds strength. You see, when you're alone, you are forced to face challenges without the crutch of someone else's support. It's in those moments that you learn just how tough you are. You realize that you are capable of handling whatever life throws your way because you've learned to rely on your own inner resources. You discover that the strength you've been searching for was always within you, waiting to be awakened. And then there's the lesson of embracing your own company. In a world where we're constantly surrounded by others, it can be hard to just be with ourselves. But when we embrace loneliness, we start to understand something crucial: you are enough. You don't need anyone to validate your worth because you are already whole. The better you are with yourself, the better you can be with others. So use this time to cultivate self-love, self-respect, and self-acceptance. What about creativity? Loneliness sparks creativity. When you're alone, you have the freedom to explore your passions, to dive into your interests, to try new things without fear of judgment. Loneliness frees your mind from distractions and opens up endless possibilities. It's in these moments of solitude that innovation happens. Ideas come alive and you begin to create something that matters. You'll look back and realize that the greatest projects, the greatest accomplishments were born out of your own solitary moments. Loneliness is also a time for growth. Personal growth doesn't happen when you're constantly surrounded by noise and distraction. It happens when you're alone, reflecting on your life, your experiences, your mistakes, and your victories. It's in those quiet moments that you learn the most about who you are, what you're capable of, and where you want to go. Loneliness gives you the clarity you need to make better decisions, to grow, and to move forward with purpose. Lastly, loneliness is a gift. It allows you to recharge. Life can be overwhelming. Relationships, work, responsibilities, they all take energy from us. But loneliness gives you the opportunity to restore your energy, to find peace, to reconnect with your spirit. In the stillness of loneliness, you regain your strength, you find your center, and you prepare for the journey ahead. So instead of fearing loneliness, embrace it. See it as a gift that helps you rediscover who you are, strengthens your character, fuels your creativity, and propels you toward personal growth. Loneliness is not an enemy. It's a powerful ally that can help you become the person you were always meant to be. Remember, you are never truly alone because the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. Embrace it, nurture it, and watch as your life transforms. Thank you, Dot. When we think of loneliness, many of us are quick to assume that it means something is missing, something is wrong. We fear it, avoid it, and try everything we can to fill the void it brings. But what if I told you that loneliness is not something to fear, but something to embrace? What if loneliness, instead of being a sign of deficiency, is actually a profound opportunity? An opportunity to reconnect with the most important person in your life, yourself. Loneliness is a path to self-discovery. Think about it for a moment. When you are surrounded by noise, by other people, by distractions, it's easy to forget who you truly are. It's easy to get lost in what the world expects from you, in what other people think you should be. You start to define yourself through the eyes of others, through their opinions, their judgments. But when you're alone, when all of that fades away, something extraordinary happens. You're given a chance to look inward, to explore the depths of who you are without the influence of external expectations. In these moments of solitude, you can hear your own voice more clearly. You can feel your own heart beat louder. There's no pressure, no rush, no need to conform to someone else's timeline or idea of success. It's just you. And in that quiet, in that stillness, you start to uncover truths about yourself that you might have been too busy to notice before. You begin to see yourself not just as the roles you play, not just as the titles you wear, but as a whole person, someone with dreams, strengths, flaws, passions, and purpose. Loneliness gives you the space to explore your own identity, your own desires, your own truth. It's in these moments of solitude that we can start asking the real questions. Who am I beyond the demands of the world? What do I truly want from life? What makes me come alive? These questions, though uncomfortable, are the key to unlocking your full potential. They force you to reflect on your life, to confront your fears, to dig deep into your soul. When you're alone, you can finally stop pretending, stop performing for others, and just be. And it's only in this raw, unfiltered state that you can truly discover who you are meant to be. This journey of self-discovery through loneliness is not always easy. It can be uncomfortable, even painful at times. But growth is never found in comfort zones. The most significant personal growth often comes from moments of deep solitude. Think about it, how many of your greatest insights, your moments of clarity have come when you were alone, away from the noise. Whether it's a quiet walk, a late night reflection, or simply sitting in silence, these moments often lead to the most profound realizations. Loneliness doesn't just help you discover who you are in the present, it also illuminates who you are becoming. When you take time to be alone, you begin to understand your own journey, your own narrative. You start to see the patterns in your life, the decisions you've made, the paths you've walked. You can reflect on your past without the distractions of others' opinions. This reflection is crucial because it helps you grow wiser. It helps you make better choices moving forward. And in this way, loneliness is not only a journey to self-discovery, but also a journey to self-improvement. You see, loneliness is not a void, it's a canvas. It's the space where you can paint your dreams, your goals, and your vision for the future. It's in those quiet moments that you can finally give yourself permission to dream without limits, to create without limits, to create without restrictions. It's in solitude that you can be truly honest with yourself, free from fear of judgment or rejection. Loneliness is where the seeds of your future self are planted. So instead of seeing loneliness as something negative, see it as a gift of self-discovery. It's the opportunity to strip away all the noise, to peel back all the layers, and to uncover the true, authentic version of yourself. In loneliness, you find not just who you are, but who you have the potential to become. And that, my friends, is a powerful, life-changing discovery. When we talk about solitude, it's easy to imagine it as a place of isolation, a space where we're left with nothing but silence and our own thoughts. But I want to challenge that perception. Solitude is not weakness, it is strength. In a world that constantly urges us to be busy, to connect, to share, to do, there is incredible power in learning to stand alone. It's in solitude that we find our true strength, the kind of strength that doesn't come from external validation, but from within. Think about it for a moment. How often do we turn to others for reassurance, for encouragement, for answers to life's tough questions? The truth is, the more we rely on others, the more we can lose sight of our own capabilities. But when we are left alone, we have no choice but to rely on ourselves. And that's when the magic happens. In those moments of solitude, we begin to understand just how resilient we truly are. We see that we can handle the challenges that life throws our way, that we can move through pain, uncertainty, and fear without needing to be saved by someone else. solitude teaches us to trust ourselves. It asks us to look inward and confront whatever it is we've been avoiding or neglecting. In those quiet moments when the noise of the world fades away, we are left with nothing but the truth of who we are. We find our own voice and we start to realize that we've had everything we needed all along: the strength, the courage, the wisdom to face the world and succeed. What we often forget is that it is in the stillness, the silence, that our true potential can emerge. In solitude, we stop seeking approval from others, and instead we start to listen to the quiet whisper of our inner strength. It's in that stillness that we can reflect, rebuild, and grow. Without the distractions of daily life, we get a chance to reconnect with our goals, our dreams, and most importantly, with the person we want to become. We don't need a crowd to feel validated. In fact, solitude often reveals that our greatest achievements come from a place of inner quiet, of personal perseverance. When you choose solitude, you choose to step into your own power. You step away from the need for constant noise and activity, and you give yourself the space to truly become who you're meant to be. You begin to realize that you don't need the world to tell you who you are or what you should do. You already have the answers inside you. And when you tap into that inner strength, you will be amazed at the things you can accomplish. Solitude doesn't isolate you from the world, it empowers you to engage with it from a place of inner strength, from a place of true authenticity. I can tell you from experience, when you stand alone, you develop a sense of power that no one can take away from you. You become unshakable because you know that you have the strength to face anything, even the toughest of times, on your own terms. You stop doubting yourself, stop questioning your worth, because you've learned to stand tall in your own skin without needing anyone else to tell you that you belong. In solitude, you also learn the importance of resilience. When life knocks you down, and it's your inner strength that will help you rise again. No matter how many times you fall, solitude teaches you that you can always get back up, that you can always move forward, even when the path is unclear. It's not about avoiding the tough moments. It's about discovering that when you are alone, you find a deeper connection to your own resilience, the very force that drives you to keep going, to never give up. So the next time you feel loneliness creeping in, remember, it's not something to fear. It's an opportunity for you to discover just how strong you really are. Solitude is not an absence of strength, it is the space where true strength is forged. You'll find that your moments of solitude are the moments that shape you into the person you were always meant to be: confident, resilient, and unstoppable. And when you embrace that strength, you'll be able to face any challenge, no matter how difficult, with a heart full of courage and a soul full of peace. There is a truth we must all come to realize: we are with ourselves every single day of our lives. The person you wake up with, the person you go to bed with, the person who walks through every trial, triumph, and challenge, you are with them. And yet, many of us struggle with our own company in a world that constantly tells us we need to be surrounded by people, by noise, by distractions. It can be hard to face the silence of being alone. But what if I told you that learning to embrace your own company is one of the most profound and freeing experiences you will ever have? Too often we are told that loneliness equals emptiness, that solitude is something to be avoided at all costs. But let me challenge that thinking. The true beauty of being alone is that it gives you the opportunity to discover who you really are without the influence of others. When we spend so much time relying on the presence and validation of others, we lose touch with the most important relationship we have, the one we have with ourselves. We start looking for worth in the eyes of others, trying to fit into molds that weren't made for us. But when we embrace our own company, we find that we are enough exactly as we are. Think about it. How often do you hear the voice in your head urging you to go faster, to do more, to be more? That voice is often shaped by the opinions and expectations of those around you. But when you're alone, you can hear your true voice for the first time. You can ask yourself questions that matter, questions like, what do I really want out of life? What do I truly value? What makes me feel alive? The answers to these questions don't come from other people, they come from within. And when you start to listen to your inner voice, you begin to realize just how powerful you are. Learning to enjoy your own company also teaches you a critical lesson in self-love. You are the one person you will always have, the one person who can't leave you, the one person who knows every thought, every fear, every dream you have. If you can't find peace and joy in your own company, how can you expect others to provide that for you? True happiness comes from within, from accepting and loving yourself fully. When you embrace your own company, you give yourself permission to be authentic, to be real, to be unashamedly you. In those quiet moments, you learn that your worth is not defined by the people around you or the accolades you receive. It's inherent in who you are. Now imagine the freedom that comes with this realization. When you stop seeking approval from others, you free yourself from the chains of comparison, expectation, and validation. You no longer need the opinions of others to dictate your actions, your worth, or your happiness. Instead, you begin to live on your own terms, choosing the path that is right for you, not the one that fits someone else's idea of success. There is nothing more liberating than the ability to be yourself fully and unapologetically in a world that constantly tries to shape you into something you're not. And let's not forget the power of peace that comes with solitude. When you learn to embrace your own company, you discover that you don't need constant noise, constant busyness, constant distraction to feel fulfilled. The world may try to convince you that you're missing out on something when you're alone, but in reality, you're gaining something that many people spend their whole lives searching for: inner peace. In silence, you can hear your thoughts clearly, reflect on your experiences, and regain your strength. When we find ourselves in moments of loneliness, one of the greatest gifts that emerges is the freedom to create. We live in a world that's constantly pulling at us, demanding our attention, filling our minds with distractions, and asking us to be everything to everyone. But when you're alone, when the noise fades and the distractions are gone, you are given something truly precious: time. Time to reflect, time to think, and most importantly, time to create. In these moments, the world becomes your canvas and your ideas have room to breathe and grow. The power of creativity lies in the fact that it's born from the deepest parts of us. It's an expression of our soul, our unique perspective, and our inner desires. But creativity doesn't always flourish when we are surrounded by constant stimulation. It needs space, it needs silence to move and grow. In the solitude of loneliness, we can hear our true thoughts, the ones that are often drowned out by the chaos of life. We can begin to hear the whispers of our dreams, the things we've always wanted to pursue but never had the time or courage to explore. There is something about being alone that removes the external pressures, that allows your imagination to soar freely. When you're not worrying about the opinions of others, when you're not constantly trying to meet expectations or fit into a mold, your mind is free to wander, to innovate, to create. Loneliness gives you the opportunity to reconnect with your passions, to explore new ideas, and to discover new facets of yourself that you might not have known existed. It's in those quiet moments that your best ideas can emerge, the ones that have the potential to change your life or even the lives of others. And here's the most beautiful thing about it: you don't need permission to create. The world often tries to tell us that creativity is for the chosen few, that you need a special title or position to be allowed to express yourself. But the truth is, creativity is a birthright we all have access to. When you're alone, there are no limitations, no rules, no barriers. You have full ownership over your own time, your own mind, and your own actions. This is the ultimate freedom to create without fear, without boundaries, without hesitation. In these moments, the universe becomes a playground. Your thoughts are no longer tethered to what's practical or conventional. You are free to experiment, to fail, to learn, and to grow. There is no greater form of freedom than the ability to create from the heart, to pour your soul into something meaningful, whether it's art, writing, music, a new business idea, or a simple project that ignites your passion. This freedom to create is not only about producing something external, it's also about creating the life you want to live. It's about shaping your future, your identity, and your path forward in a way that is true to who you are. And here's the thing, creativity is not always about producing a masterpiece. Sometimes the most valuable creations are the ones that help you discover something new about yourself. Sometimes the act of creating is more important than the final product. It's about the process, the journey, the growth that happens when you take the time to express yourself fully without judgment or constraint. The more you create, the more you understand the power of your own thoughts and how your ideas can manifest into something real, something tangible. When you embrace the loneliness that comes with solitude, you're not just creating things, you're creating a new version of yourself. You are unlocking doors to parts of your soul that have been waiting patiently for the right moment to emerge. And that moment is now. The freedom to create is not a gift reserved for others. It's available to all of us, especially when we embrace the stillness of loneliness and give ourselves the space to dream, to imagine, and to bring those dreams to life. So don't fear the loneliness. Instead, see it as an invitation to create, to explore, and to transform your world. The freedom to create is yours. It's yours to shape, to mold, and to use in any way you choose. And when you allow yourself this freedom, you may just discover that your greatest creations were born from your moments of solitude. There is something incredibly powerful that happens in those moments when we find ourselves alone, when the distractions of the world fade away and we are left with only our thoughts. These are the moments that many of us try to avoid, the moments we feel uncomfortable, as if silence itself is too loud. But it's precisely in those moments that personal growth begins to take root. When we are surrounded by noise, by the opinions and demands of others, it becomes difficult to truly reflect on our own lives, our values, and our dreams. We lose touch with the deeper parts of ourselves that are trying to speak, trying to show us the way. But loneliness, real, honest solitude offers us a chance to pause, to breathe, and to turn inward. It's in that quiet space that we begin to truly see ourselves, not just for what we have achieved or what others think of us, but for who we are at our core. Growth begins in those moments when we ask ourselves the tough questions. What do I really want out of life? What am I passionate about? What fears are holding me back? These aren't questions we can always answer when we are busy rushing from one task to the next, or when we're surrounded by the noise of the world, but in loneliness, we are forced to confront those questions head on. And though it may be uncomfortable at first, it's in that discomfort that we start to find clarity. Personal growth isn't a one-time event, it's a process. And it often begins in the quietest of places. It's in the stillness that we are given the space to heal old wounds, to process our experiences, and to reconsider the path we've been walking. Loneliness has a unique way of showing us our strengths and weaknesses in a raw, unfiltered light. It's not about being perfect, it's about becoming aware, becoming intentional, and becoming more connected to who we truly are. Through this self-awareness, we begin to shed old habits, mindsets, and beliefs that no longer serve us, making room for growth, change, and evolution. In solitude, we also find the freedom to reassess our goals. Without the noise of others' expectations, we are free to pursue what we truly desire. Often we set goals based on what society values or what other people think we should be striving for. But in the solitude of loneliness, we can reconnect with our own ambitions and dreams. We get to decide for ourselves what success looks like, and that's incredibly liberating. There's no one else to answer to but ourselves. And in that space, growth happens. We start to realize that the path to success isn't defined by anyone else's standards but our own. As we reflect on our lives, loneliness can also bring us face to face with our past. And yes, that can be painful. It's natural to want to avoid facing mistakes, regrets, and challenges we've encountered along the way. But growth requires us to acknowledge our past. To truly move forward, we must understand where we've been. It's through this understanding that we can forgive ourselves, release old grudges, and make peace with the decisions we've made. In those quiet moments, we give ourselves permission to heal, and that healing opens the door for growth. So while many view loneliness as a time of weakness or isolation, it is in fact a time of great strength. It's an opportunity to clear away the noise, to reset, and to focus on the one person who will always be with you, yourself. When you grow in loneliness, you learn that you are your own greatest asset. You learn how to nurture your mind, body, and soul. You learn to become your own source of inspiration, your own motivator, and your own biggest cheerleader. In the end, loneliness is not a curse, but a gift. It is a space where we discover the truth about who we are, where we grow stronger, more resilient, and more connected to our deepest selves. It teaches us that we don't need external validation to feel whole, and that within the silence we find our own power. When we embrace loneliness, we unlock the door to personal growth, creativity, and self-love. So the next time you find yourself alone, don't shy away from it. See it for what it truly is, a precious opportunity to grow, to evolve, and to reconnect with the best version of yourself. Loneliness is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally in the journey to becoming who you are meant to be. And when you look back, you will realize that it was in those quiet moments that you discovered your true strength, and your true potential, and your true purpose. Embrace your solitude, for in it you will find the key to your most powerful self. Thank you.